Welcome back to the Boom and Buck podcast. It has been entirely too long.
That's my bad. I've been busy at work. I apologize.
Yeah, it's not just your fault. I was out of town. I was visiting my little red one last weekend.
My little red one.
And work and life, but we're back. So
Yes.
I've been thinking about this. I've been posting it. I just wanted to bring it up real quick. Been posting it as season 1 for everything that we were doing before. Considering we had a little bit of a break, you want to roll into season 2?
Sure.
Because this is where it rolls in, right? We're in the middle of basketball season. We are going to be rolling into baseball season. Spring training has started. Hallelujah.
It has. That's true.
And then that rolls into the summer, which is also NBA playoffs, All-Star game, and then college football and NFL, and then that's it.
Well, and the XFL. Don't forget the XFL.
Sure.
Got to throw them in there.
Didn't forget about the XFL. I do want to talk. We're going to talk about the XFL near the end of the game of the episode, but
Right. We'll talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But first thing first, since this is a college football podcast.
First off, at Boom and Buck podcast. No, at Boom and Buck on Twitter. Boom and Buck podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, wherever you can find
all
us.
that fun stuff.
Coming at you.
But yeah, about 2 weeks ago, since we didn't record really last week, the college football schedule dropped.
Yes. Yeah, the official.
Yes, the official. And there's some, I think, very interesting games on the.
Agree.
There's a couple weeks in there that I was like, yeah, all right, cool story. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, some of them are pretty bad.
Right.
Some of them are like, well, I mean, at least my team's playing.
Yeah, but of course, those weeks I'm like, hey, at least my team's playing, but they're playing Kansas, so that's that's fun, I guess.
Let's see what the third stringers can do this week.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's go see somebody else play. So what we're gonna do? We did a little top 10. Jimmy's gonna give you his top 10 overall games of the season.
Mine's the basic, boring-ass B-word top 10.
And since I'm the research nut, I did the top 10 games that are not on your radar, but damn it, they should be.
I'm excited to hear that top 10.
I got a lot of fun ones.
Because mine are very, very basic.
Well, and there's kind of the usual, it's kind of the typical games, but like let's get into yours, and
all right,
and then we'll kind of get into mine and discuss mine because I think Walsh will be kind of fun. So go.
So my number 1 is Homer Simpson.
Hold on a second.
Here's why.
Is this in order? Like your first?
I'm going in order.
Okay.
Let's start with let's go down. You want to go start at 10? Work our way down.
Yeah, you start at 10, work your way out. Mine's in no specific order. Mine are just top 10 fun games. So.
Mine is in order. My number 10 is Cincinnati, Nebraska. Now,
interesting.
Cincinnati is coming off their second 10-win season in a row.
Right.
Have a buttload of returning starters, and they still got Luke Fickell, who's a very smart defensive coach. And I want to see what they can do offensively if they can make that next step, because Memphis is probably still going to be really good. They got a lot of I don't know how many players they got coming back, but they do have a lot of players still that are very good, but they lost their head coach.
They've been good for a couple years now, so.
Yes, yeah, they've been good for a couple of years now. Nebraska was thought to be the black sheep in the Big Ten West, and they ended up not being very good.
Listen, Nebraska is the Texas of the Big Ten. Every year they're quote-unquote back until they start playing football, and then they're not.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like Nebraska, they don't have the players. Like Texas always has
That's
good
true. That's very true.
Classes. And it's not like Nebraska is a bevy of high school football players.
No.
Not
at all. So that's fair on that. But every year, everybody always says, "Oh, this is Nebraska's year."
I think a lot of people were guessing Nebraska were going to be better than they were because of how good their quarterback played near the end of the year last year.
Right, Taylor Martinez is very good.
Yeah, finished the season off with like 6 or 7 wins in a row, which is good.
Good. No, they finished. It wasn't the last 7 games. I think they finished like 5-2, something like that.
Well, it's a winning schedule.
Yeah, they finished the season well.
They were thinking they were going to come in with momentum, and Scott Frost's second year at UCF was undefeated. I think they won undefeated his second year there.
Possibly.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain, but it was very early. He wasn't at UCF for very long.
No, he was not. That's true.
So with Nebraska being mediocre, Cincinnati possibly, or at least in the argument of being one of the best, if not the best, the group of 5 teams in the country, and I believe it's at
I would agree
Nebraska.
with that.
I believe it's at Nebraska. There's a good opportunity for Cincinnati to make some waves. I don't think they're going to make the playoff.
No,
that's going to give them. That's going to give them the early goings on a New Year's Six game.
Yeah, I think that would jump them up into the New Year's Six conversation on the non-Power 5 team. They're not even going to sniff the playoff. It ain't even close. But they could be the top non-Power 5 team. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm and my boy Fickle. I love Luke Fickle.
I know you do.
He's awesome.
You have a hard on for him. I don't hate him, so I can't argue. So.
Yeah, I was about to say he's an Ohio boy. Went to Ohio State. Was awesome at Ohio State. Was a terrible head coach at Ohio State, but
that's very
you
true.
Give him the benefit of the doubt considering the situation. Yeah. And stuck around, built himself up, got himself a head coaching job, and he's doing well.
He's doing very well.
And he looks like Adam Sandler.
That's also a very true fact.
All right. Now, do you want to go back and forth, or you just want to roll down?
Let's go yours, because I think mine will be a little bit more fun to talk about, because yours will be some basics.
Okay, mine are very basic. Next one is number 9, Egg Bowl, and that's simply because they both the two teams, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, have brand new head coaches, Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And honestly, I mean, granted, we're only on 9. I don't know the rest of your list, but I might have that one a little higher on my list. I think that one's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Was it Mike Leach got the transfer quarterback in, so he's got his grad senior coming in, which, you've seen what Leach can do with quarterbacks. He turns them into stat machines.
Yeah. Friggin' what's-his-face from Washington State last year.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. Minshew, and then...
No, not Minshew. Yeah, Minshew did pretty well. And then, I can't remember his name.
I know who you're talking about, but I forgot.
Yeah, he led all of college football in passing yards.
Yeah.
But he also led it in passing attempts.
Well, that's usually how it works in a Mike Leach offense.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what Mike Lynch can do at Mississippi State. I'm excited to see what Lane Kiffin can do at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Can they build up a team that can compete in the SEC, the powerhouse of the SEC? Yeah, I think both those teams are going to be very interesting to watch. I like that game. I like that game a lot.
Very interesting to see how they can do recruiting, especially in the Southeast like that.
Right.
So, moving on. Number 8, I got Ole Miss Bama. The Iron Bowl. Oh, no, not Ole Miss Bama. Just because Lane Kiffin going back and playing against Alabama.
Kiffin versus Bama. That'll be. Yeah, I can see that one.
By the way, Bama just lost their
strength
and conditioning coach
to Georgia.
Yeah, Kirby Smart grabbed him. And I did see they're looking to get Dudley Do-Right bad guy from Oregon.
Oh, really?
Their strength and conditioning coach, which is an interesting move.
Well, from what I read, too, that strength and conditioning coach was pretty much Saban's number 2. And the main reason, because for all of you that don't know, that there is a period in the offseason where coaches cannot interact with the players.
Yes.
Kind of the dead period. So a strength and conditioning coach is not a coach. So he can interact with the players.
Yes.
So for that couple months span, he is pretty much speaking vicariously through the coach. So he was pretty much Nick Saban for a couple months throughout the offseason. And he has been for a long, long time. And they just lost him. And that's a big loss.
That's a big move. That's a big, big move. You're talking about a guy who developed Oh boy, Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah, if you want to talk about like
you're talking about making Amari Cooper faster.
I mean, we could just go on down the list of Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, freaking Derrick Henry. Like, don't even start me on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, he has built some beasts at that school.
Monsters. That's big. That's big. I'm pretty sure Alabama's going to be able to get themselves a very good replacement.
Yeah, I'm not. Alabama will bounce back, but that's a big loss to lose for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am in no way saying that's the beginning of the end of the Saban era in Alabama.
No, I don't think so either.
But anyway, moving on. My number 7 is Big Ten game, Big Ten East matchup, Penn State, Michigan.
Okay.
Both teams are losing their No, Penn State's keeping their quarterback.
Yep.
Penn State has a brand new offensive coordinator coming in.
They have 3 new coaches coming in.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah, their offensive coordinator from Minnesota moved over to Penn State, which we talked about it on Friday with Ryan. We all agree. We feel like it's a good hire.
Yeah, no, that was a definitely good hire. But he did very well at Minnesota. We're just going to see what he can do here.
Yeah, and Michigan. They've lost a lot.
Yeah,
they're losing a lot.
They are, but I think they'll be fine. It's Michigan.
I don't think Michigan's going to be bad. I just don't know if they're going to be. Man, I don't know. We'll see. Everything I say about Michigan is always a wait and see.
Well, right. I do think they're going to have a better quarterback than they have had in a while. I like McCaffrey. I think he's a very good quarterback.
I think he's more clutch than
Patterson,
thank you, but I don't know how he's going to be throwing. Because Shea Patterson wasn't that good of a thrower, and I haven't seen much of McCaffrey, but when he was playing, he did very well.
He just seems
he can't run.
Yeah, he's
not as athletic.
He's fragile.
Yeah, he's big, tall, like his dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Who, if you don't know, Ed McCaffrey was his dad. Ed McCaffrey, icon. Well, he's not iconic, but 1990s wideout for the Denver Broncos.
If you really want to know who Ed McCaffrey is, Google Ed McCaffrey leg break.
Oh, at your own risk. It's bad.
Google that and learn who Ed McCaffrey is.
By the way, also the dad of Christian McCaffrey.
Correct.
Anyway, all right, moving on from there. Oh, I did want to say the reason that I have that so high, at least in the top 10, is because I think it's going to be between those two as to who's going to have any sort of contention for the Big Ten East. So that's going to decide who they're going to take on Ohio State to win the Big Ten East. I think Ohio State's still going to win the Big Ten.
Yeah, so no matter who goes up against them, nothing against Penn State. I think Penn State's going to be a good football team, but Ohio State's winning the Big Ten East. They're my favorite to win it all, but that's beyond the point.
They're winning, bringing a lot back. Yeah. Anyway, number 6, I have Texas LSU.
Now it's going to be interesting. LSU lost a lot.
LSU lost a lot.
It is in Death Valley.
It is in Death Valley. Texas is not returning their stud wide receivers. They are getting Ellinger back, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, but he's a good one. And I'm interested to see it's like a launching point for either team. Well, Texas wins in Death Valley, they're going to say, "Oh, we're back." They're not going to be back, but they're going to say, "Oh, we're back," and they're going to get a lot of attention.
Right.
And LSU loses, it's like, "Oh my gosh, the reigning college football champions just lost to Texas."
Right. And it's going to be interesting to watch. So, if any of you guys out there have not dealt with LSU fans before, they're dicks. They're huge dicks. Like
they're SEC. They're in the SEC, of course.
Well, but even like I talked to there's a guy I work with, Robbie Pashoff, great guy. I like him, and I'm not saying every LSU fan's a dick, but there's those ones out there, and they seem to overshadow everybody. And even Robbie was like, yeah, we're assholes. Like, they're throwing beers on people, freaking whatever. So it's going to be interesting because last year, if you guys didn't hear the stories or everything, if you look, they put LSU's band in the very top of the stadium, very corner, away from everybody. And then there's rumors, and all the LSU players say it, even though Texas denies it, that they didn't have the air conditioning on in their LSU locker room.
Put it past them. That feels
right.
like a Texas.
So now, right, and now you're going to Death Valley, where they're known to be dicks, and you treated them like shit. So it's like, it's going to be interesting to see the rumors that come out of how LSU may or may not return the favor of how they were treated. Not saying it's right, but karma's a bitch.
Yeah, there's the stories around that game are really what it is that I'm looking forward to on that one.
Right. I'll take LSU.
Number 5, I have R to the third power, the Red River Rivalry.
Yeah, baby.
That's because it's a classic rivalry, even though it's not really a rivalry. But
it hasn't been lately.
It
hasn't been lately.
It's a great game to watch.
It is. It's fun. It's always the second Saturday of October, morning kickoff. That's what it always is. Love it. Oh, and it's in Dallas. It's like one of only 2 games still that's played on a neutral site.
Sort of. I mean, it's in the middle, but it's in Texas.
Well, it's in the middle, but it's literally I think it's like 207 miles from Norman and 210 miles from Austin. It's literally right smack in the middle, and it's at the Cotton Bowl, which is an iconic.
It's a classic rivalry. I love it. I'm a big fan, and there's a lot of implications about the Big 12 moving forward. Like I said, if Texas were to beat LSU, and they've got that LSU win going into the Red River rivalry, I'm going to say shootout because it's way cooler. The Red River shootout, and Texas happens to beat Oklahoma. That now you've got LSU and Oklahoma on your roster. They are going to be in the picture for playoffs. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll make it,
right?
Because they would have to play Oklahoma again.
More than likely, yeah. But yeah, that first one, I think, if Texas could somehow beat LSU, looking at OU's non-conference, we're probably going to be undefeated. But you're going to be going into usually the 5th or 6th week of this, or no, it's 7th week of the season or so. Mm-hmm. If Texas is undefeated, having LSU on the schedule, OU bringing in the phenom Spencer Rattler, if he's playing well 7 weeks, that's going to be. There should be a lot of eyes on that game.
Yeah.
So
I fully think that your boys, your Sooners, are probably going to be running the ball quite a bit more, considering they just got, what's his face is your, oh my gosh, I'm blanking so hard on names today. Running backs coach out of Arizona.
Oh, DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray, yeah.
Yeah, we got DeMarco Murray.
I'm interested to see what he can do with your guys that you can bring in.
We bring back all of our running backs. We bring back 4 of our offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. We did lose CeeDee Lamb.
Spencer Rattler's first, probably, more than likely Spencer Rattler's going to be the starting quarterback. And
yeah, he will be.
Not putting too much on his shoulders, protect him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's fair to Lincoln Riley will go back to running the ball a lot like we have in the past. Mm-hmm. With the hog mollies. I love my hog mollies.
Yeah. That offensive line's going to be difficult to deal with.
Yes, it will.
Yes. Okay, number 4, I've got the Iron Bowl. Bama, Auburn. Auburn was, I would say, a little bit overrated last year. Defense was very good until they played. Well, Auburn's defense was really good until they played Alabama.
Right.
And it always goes to show you when it comes down to tight rivalries like that. Rivalries that I don't care what you did before this. This is this game now. It doesn't matter.
Right. It's to throw out the records. Who gives a shit? Line them up and let's go.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see what Auburn's going to do on offense moving forward because they weren't great on offense. I want to see how their quarterback is going to progress from his true freshman year.
Are you blanking on names again, so you're not going to say it?
I am.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, thank you, because I'm old. Bo Nix, who was a pretty good. I liked watching. He's fun to watch.
He was a true freshman. He played well for being an 18-year-old kid out there.
Yeah.
In the SEC, he did well. Was he a phenom? Was he a freaking, what a Johnny Football was or this? No, Jameis Winston. No, but he was overall for a 18-year-old kid out there. I think he held himself pretty well.
He played hard and he played fast and he played until the end of the whistle, and you got to commend him for that.
Right.
He could have shrunk into a shell and just spiraled, but he didn't.
Right.
He did pretty well.
Yeah, and I think
I want to see how he can do moving forward.
I think going forward, like giving him a couple of years, I think he's gonna be a pretty dang good quarterback by the time he's done.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And that makes with Tua being gone, the who's going to be the starting quarterback for Alabama moving forward, whether it's going to be Tua's younger brother Talia or Mac Jones, or I'm blanking again on the the 5-star quarterback they brought in.
Oh God, now I'm drawing blank. Yeah, they brought in the.
It's spreading.
It's your fault. You started this. Hold on a second. I'll bring it. Keep talking. I'll
But yeah, and it's Alabama, and Alabama, if they didn't lose Tua last year, very likely could have made the playoffs.
Bryce Young,
thank you. And he's very good.
Oh, he is incredibly good.
It's gonna be very interesting. And if it is Bryce Young, it's his first year as a starter at the college level in the SEC West, which is a buzzsaw.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think Jalen Hurts did just fine. I think Tua did just fine. I'm pretty sure this kid will be just fine.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Jalen, Jalen was a true freshman, wasn't he?
Well, he is, and plus the way Alabama's offense is ran, that they don't. The quarterback doesn't have to go out and win it. They have beasts of running backs that are going to run the ball.
True.
They got great weapons on the outside. They got a beast offensive line and a great defense. So the quarterback doesn't have to go out and throw for 300 yards. He's just got to go out there and be 17 for 22, throw for a touchdown or two and 250 yards, and they're going to win the game by 40. Okay.
Very true. Very true. Very true. So, yeah, I think Alabama will be back. I'm interested to see how Auburn's going to be. And I still think Alabama's going to win. They should have won last year.
Yeah, it's true.
Last year ended in controversy. Number 3, Georgia, Bama.
I'm not sold on Georgia.
Smart.
Not at all this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking about it, and maybe I have that game a little too high.
Georgia only brought back 3 starters on offense, lost their quarterback, lost their running backs, lost their and granted, it is at the and that game's like week 4.
Yeah,
so
that one's way too high. I got that one way too high.
Yeah, like if that game was at the end of the season, okay, at that point there are no freshmen. If you start a freshman week 1 and he plays 10 weeks, by the end of it, yeah, sure, he's got an FR by his name, but he's not a freshman. Like he's got the experience. But at week 4, that's not a lot of experience before you decide to go toe to toe with Alabama.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that could be a
mauling. I might not drop that out of the top 10.
Yeah, I think that might be
that
might be a mauling.
Yeah, I think so too. You got a good point there. Anyway, moving on to 2. My number 1 and my number 2, I'm gonna call them cartoon characters, aka Homer Simpson, because I'm a Homer. And you know where I'm going with this now. Number 2,
Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio
State, Oregon.
Oh yeah, that's one. I forgot about you guys.
I am very interested in that one. I swapped out Penn State, Michigan. I was going to put Ohio State, Penn State in there earlier on because of the fact it could be for the Big Ten East. But I changed it for Penn State, Michigan, and then I put Ohio State, Oregon because I'm interested to see, and it's in Oregon, by the way.
Autzen gets rowdy.
Yes, and it does. And I don't think that's necessarily – it is. It's recorded. It's the loudest stadium in the entire country.
Yeah, that place is –
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem for Ohio State considering they're playing at the big not the big house. That's Michigan. Oh, my God.
Wow. That is –
I caught myself. That was bad. You want to talk about old man brain?
Let's
talk about old man brain.
You need to take your Buckeye leaf and cut off a leaf part of that. Cut off a corner for that.
I know. I deserve that. I got to let it grow back. Man. The horseshoe. The horseshoe is very loud as well. So
right.
I don't know if the noise, but it doesn't matter. It's still a difficult place to play. Only thing is, Oregon lost Justin Herbert, but I still think they're a very good football team.
Right.
And that is a game that could possibly be losable. And I think people are sleeping on Oregon's defense. I think Oregon's defense is better than it has been in the past, because most people think Oregon, and we've talked about it. Most people think Oregon, the the shootouts, the score as many points as you can.
The Chip Kelly days.
The no huddle offense, right? Chip Kelly days, the Mark Helfrich days.
Yeah.
Why do I remember those names? Why do I remember Mark Helfrich, but not Bryce Young? Anyway.
That's true.
And I think Oregon is a little bit more traditional now. So that's going to be an interesting game. You got it's early on. It's 2 top 10 teams going into the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And it's an interesting game.
Yep. No, absolutely it is. I mean, it always is.
Yeah, and my number one, and I'm going to give it to you. I'll give you one guess as to what my number one most anticipated game of the entire college football season of 2020 is.
I'm going to go with Colorado, Princeton.
Wrong. Colorado State. Anyway.
Ooh, I like that game, though.
It's the game. It's the game. For those who know what the game is, what are you doing here? It's Ohio State, that team up north.
Yeah, it's a beast every year.
It's always a good game. It's always a good game.
Except when I told you it wasn't going to be, and then you guys slaughtered him, like I said. Yeah. Remember that?
And you were right. I go into that game always like. It's weird. Last year and the years previous, 3 weeks going into it, I'm like, oh, I'm not even worried about it. Like, Ohio State's going to thump Michigan. And then 2 weeks get closer, I'm like, all right, well, maybe not thump them, but they're definitely going to win. 1 week prior, man, I think we might lose this week.
Right.
That's just how my mind works with the game. And it always gets me hyped. I'm super excited for it. And I'm interested to see what Michigan could do. It was in Columbus this most recent year, and then in 2020 it's going to be in the Big House. So, which is not, a lot of people say, oh, it's the biggest stadium in the country. It's got to be really difficult to play in. From everything I've heard from former Ohio State players, it's not that hard to play in. The most difficult thing is that it's crowded on the sideline.
Everything I heard, like from, granted, a bunch of guys obviously that I knew play football down here in the South. They said the most complicated stadium to play in is Texas A&M. They said that stadium is literally built straight up and down, and when they start doing that arm and like start swaying back and forth, he said, like, it was my buddy John Finley. He's now actually the tight end coach for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He's like, man, he's like when they start doing that sway, he's like, you literally get dizzy. He's like, it is weird.
I can imagine. That's really. I love that stadium.
Oh yeah.
I think at some point we need to do our top 10 best college, our favorite college atmospheres.
Okay, Boomer Sooner in Oklahoma. Got it. Done.
You didn't say Columbus.
You don't make my top 10. You're not Boomer. You're not Sooner. You're not in Oklahoma. So.
You only said 3.
Oh, dial on.
So yeah, that's my top 10. Very basic, but still very interesting games.
Yeah, there's definitely basic. It's the top. Like they're basic. It's kind of a lot I was expecting, but that doesn't mean just because I was expecting doesn't mean they can be interesting. There's still games I'm going to tune into like every week. Like here we go.
Very true. Very true.
All right, so my list, the games that ain't on your list but should be. I'm going to kind of go with the least fun, kind of moving into more fun.
Okay.
So the least fun, kind of one. I'm going to go with Navy Notre Dame. Why? Because that is opening night of the college football season. So at that time, college football's back.
Great day of the year.
Great day of the year.
Is that a Thursday game?
Yep, it's a Thursday game, first game, and it's Notre Dame and Navy, which I'm thinking Notre Dame's going to win, but it's not like we have, no offense if you went to these universities, but it's not like it's like Georgia State versus Grambling. Where it's college football, but it's like, okay, who cares? It's Notre Dame, who's always in the top 10, top 15, and Navy, who has been pretty dang good. Granted, they lost a quarterback, but they're usually got a pretty good football team.
Yeah, historically, you going back as well. When you're talking about traditions at Navy and at Notre Dame, they're some of the most tradition-rich football programs ever.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
And is it at Annapolis, or is it in...
No.
South Bend.
It is.
I think
it's in South Bend this year.
Man, if it was at Annapolis or was a a neutral game, that'd be very interesting because it's one. I hear it. It's not an actual rule, obviously, but it's one of those things. Don't schedule service teams because all of them run the triple option. So and it's impossible to get the ball back when all they need to get is 3 yards.
Well,
and you can attest to that playing Army.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, that is very true. However, I don't think that fully applies. Okay, here we go, Jimmy. That game's actually in Dublin, Ireland.
That is dope. It doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Yeah, so Notre Dame Navy opening game of the college football season in Dublin, Ireland.
Can you imagine if the United States Navy
goes to Ireland,
midshipmen beat the Notre Dame Irish in Ireland? Oh, yeah, I don't know if they're going to make it back.
You know who I'm rooting for? Navy.
100%.
Okay, so start with the college football. So the next one this one was kind of fun just to put in there. So, but Army Princeton. So Princeton has not played an FBS team in 34 years.
Okay.
In the last 2 seasons, Princeton is 19-1.
Yes, I did know that.
And they've won 2 Ivy League titles. Mm-hmm. And Princeton also has a 6-4-3 advantage over Army. So it's like, okay, well, kind of interesting.
And Army, they are really good every, 5 years?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they won 10 games, not last year, but the year before. We're not very good last year.
No.
So they could lose.
They could definitely lose. So I think that's going to be a little kind of fun game to just keep an eye on the score. Mm-hmm.
Another thing, look into Princeton in their college football heritage.
Oh yeah,
they got a big one too.
Yeah, I mean, granted they haven't been FBS in a long time, but their history is loaded.
Did they play? Was it them and Rutgers who played the first college football game?
I don't know. That's the thing, Jim. I'm actually gonna have to look it up. I'm not 100% sure.
It was definitely Rutgers, but I couldn't remember if it was Princeton or not.
Possibly. So now we're going to kind of actually get into the real fun ones that are actually implementations, not just fun to watch but these are things. So this one I think any game involving Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, or Purdue.
Yeah.
Pretty much put the
Big Ten West.
Yeah, the Big Ten West, because I mean, obviously, things happen, but I'm pretty sure I put a lot of money to say Ohio State's coming out of the East. And who's coming out of the West, I have no earthly idea. No slightly clue.
I want to see who's going to replace Jonathan Taylor.
Right, and because Wisconsin always.
I almost said Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No, yeah, well, at Full House or no, in Home Improvement. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Wisconsin's always pretty good. Minnesota's great last year. They can play that way again. Iowa's always respectable. Is Nebraska back? Purdue's got the playmakers, and was it 2 years ago? You could attest they could pop up at any second and be.
It was
dangerous.
Princeton. It was Rutgers and Princeton. First ever college football game. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And I think Purdue. We were talking about which teams we thought would make a big jump. This coming season, I said Purdue. I don't think they're going to win the West, but I think they could get a pretty good game boost.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a pretty good football team.
I think they got a good head coach. They get Rondale Moore and their quarterback back.
Rondale Moore
he is special.
He is a very special player.
He's a tiny little speedster, Tyreek Hill type player. Dude is
right.
He's cutting on a dime.
Yeah, people, if you have not, I know a lot, Purdue's not the hottest team on the football planet, but if you get a chance just to watch a quarter or two of Purdue football, watch because Rondale Moore.
Oh, man, I hope he doesn't get hurt.
He's something special. He's something special.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so continuing down the list, and this is one of my more fun ones that I'm going to kind of go against what you say with Ohio State and Oregon. First off, before I say this one, I think Ohio State's going to beat the shit out of Oregon. And I'm going to tell you why, because I think the more interesting game is North Dakota State versus Oregon.
Yeah, you were talking about that before.
Yeah, North Dakota State has won 3 straight FCS champs. Oregon lost Herbert. Oregon lost 4 of their 5 offensive linemen. They do. They are going to have a stout defense. I will give you that. Their defense is going to be pretty good. They don't have great playmakers on the outside. I don't know who the running backs can be, so I don't know what they're going to do on offense. And if they go and slouch against a team like North Dakota State, who's pretty damn good, Oregon could lose that game. Mm-hmm. And if they lose that game, then I think the Pac-12 playoff hopes are done.
Yeah, I don't think the only team in my mind, unless some other team comes out of nowhere like Arizona State or something.
Yeah.
The only team in my mind that has a chance at making the college football playoff is Oregon.
Right. And if they lose to North Dakota State, I don't give a shit what you do. They could beat Ohio State and run the table, but if you lose to North Dakota State, you're not getting in. You're not getting in.
Yeah.
So next on my list, because I had to put one of my homer games in, but it's actually kind of interesting. I'm going to put OU Army. And the reason is kind of, what'd you say? You never schedule a service team.
Schedule. Yeah, so I said that the ruling, the idea behind that rule is not necessarily because you'll lose every time. It's because it's going to be really hard to win, and it's going to make you look bad, even if you win.
So, and I actually did a little research on this.
Okay.
So OU is actually going to Army.
I like it. I like that.
So in the last
home and homes, man.
In the last 12 years, a big name Power 5 team, like I'm not talking about like your Kansases or your Vanderbilts. I'm talking about like your OUs, your Ohio States, your Floridas, your Alabamas, like the big name Power 5 teams, right? Mm-hmm. In the last 12 years, a big name Power 5 has only gone to any of the academies, not Army, any of the academies. This will be the second time in 12 years.
Wow. That's cool.
So I'll put OU Army in there, kind of a cool OU big name school going to one of the academies.
They're probably going to completely fill that stadium.
Oh, yes. And OU travels pretty well, and I know a lot of people already talking about that they want to go experience a game at Army.
Yeah, it's a military academy. Right. That's really cool.
Right.
I bet you it's going to be super clean.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure that AC will be on for OU because Army's nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that game's going to be pretty freaking cool. I think it'd be fun to watch. I
agree.
I'm kind of bouncing over the list here on my list. But
this is way better than mine.
One that I was talking about. So you kind of brought up. I'll put Arizona State, Utah.
Okay.
Pac-12 South. It's the second to last week of the season. So the Pac-12, there's a good chance the Pac-12 South title could be on the line going into that game. Mm-hmm. Utah obviously has been pretty good for the last couple of years. Obviously, Arizona State with Herman, they got that phenom freshman quarterback who's very good. He's coming back. He's got a loaded coaching staff that knows how to coach players. They're ex players. I think Arizona State can make a jump up, and I think Arizona State, Utah, second to last week of the season. I mean, that could be who's going to play Oregon or. Well, probably Oregon out of the north. Yeah. Who's going to go? I think that's going to be an interesting game to watch.
Well, yeah, depending on what USC does as well.
Right. Speaking of USC, I put on there Alabama USC. And not because I think it's going to be a good game, because I'm interested to see how Slovis, who a lot of people have as one of the Heisman dark horses or front, like kind of in that mix.
Yeah.
How is he going to go against a team like Alabama? If he comes out and shits the bed, then that narrative's over. It's done. You're not winning the Heisman. But if he comes out and throws for 350 and 4 touchdowns against Alabama, even if they lose the game, then, I mean, okay, let the campaign begin.
Yeah.
But let's see what he can do against a powerhouse defense. I think it's week 2 of the season. Let's see what this kid's got.
Yeah.
I think that one.
I don't have Slovis as a Heisman dark horse at all.
I think the one reason I think he could be up there is because he's playing the Pac-12 where he's going to be able to put up some numbers.
True.
I think he is a very good quarterback. And right now, like most of the Heismans that have happened in the last, if you think about it, 4 or 5 years, have come out of nowhere. Last year, Joe Burrow was nowhere to be found. Kyler Murray
True.
was not in the top 5 to start the season. Baker Mayfield damn sure wasn't in the top 5.
You got a very good point. The preseason Heisman. The preseason Heisman favorite very rarely wins the Heisman.
Right, yeah. And usually the number 2 doesn't either. It's usually somebody that came out of like, where did this guy come from? Like who?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Johnny Football.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, freaking Joe Burrow.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to go back, like Troy Smith. You got to go back even further. Like, I don't know if.
I mean, Jameis Winston was a freshman. But we didn't know he was going to do that.
No, I don't know if Tim Tebow was a preseason favorite. Probably not.
Yeah, it's like you'd have to go back a while. So that's why. I mean, I could see Slovis possibly jumping up in there to that mix, kind of as well.
Well, it's like you said. It all depends on how he does against Bama.
Oh yeah, that's true. So next 2 games can kind of. Actually, I'm going to go to one, and I'm going to jump to my last 2 games. So the other one, Baylor Ole Miss. It is first game of the season for either one of the teams.
Okay.
So it's Lane Train's first game. How's he going to do against Ole Miss? Baylor was very much overproduced last year. But they did lose Matt Rule as their quarterback, and it's going to be interesting to see, is Baylor going to continue this uptick, losing their coach, or are they going to kind of fall back down to mediocre? And what's Lane going to do at Ole Miss? And I think that's a pretty interesting game week 1. It's a very good early test for the SEC and the Big 12 to see. Because, minus OU and possibly Texas, I think Oklahoma State's going to be pretty good. But, how the Big 12 shat the freaking bed last year in the bowls, so I'm not sold on how good the Big 12 is going to be going forward.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because Baylor's new head coach was LSU's defensive coordinator.
Right.
Never been a head coach before.
Right.
And Lane Kiffin definitely has head coaching experience. If I was good, is it in Waco or is it in?
I think it's at Ole Miss. Let me check, make sure.
Okay, that's a winnable game. That's definitely a winnable game for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a winnable game. Okay. So it's never mind. I stand corrected. It's in Houston, so it's not. It's
okay.
It's not either one, but I mean it's a lot closer to Baylor than it is Ole Miss. So the next 2 games. So you talked about Purdue making the big jump.
I think but just based on numbers alone, not necessarily like making an impact.
Right. So my team that I think can make an impact is, like we kind of talked about, is North Carolina. I think North Carolina, they're bringing back 10 of their 11 starters on offense. So I think they lost 1 offensive lineman as a guard. Mac Brown is one hell of a coach. The minus Clemson, obviously, the ACC is up for the freaking pickings. I mean, somebody, for the love of God, step up and challenge Clemson.
That number 2 spot, yeah. That number 2 spot's wide open.
Right. So, kind of my first one to talk about, like that I have on here, is week 2. There's so many big games. If you're a big college football fan, if you haven't looked at the schedule, I mean, week 2 is what we're going to get what we want real quick. I mean, there's Texas LSU, there's Oklahoma Tennessee, there's Ohio State Oregon, Iowa State Iowa, there's Penn State Virginia Tech. There's so many big games, but in my mind, the number one that I like is UNC versus Auburn.
That is a good one.
I think, seeing what Auburn's like, and UNC, if they can get past that one, they could kind of vault themselves up.
I don't think they play Clemson in the regular season.
They don't.
Ooh, buddy.
So that goes down to my number 1, and it is still staying in the ACC, North Carolina, Miami. So if North Carolina can get past Auburn, and even if they don't play a single ranked team for the rest of the season, preseason ranked.
Yeah.
Miami doesn't play a single pre-ranked top 25 team all year. They do have DeAndre King from Houston coming to be Miami's quarterback.
Yep.
And will bring stability. Like, they have playmakers at Miami.
Yeah, they have been. Yeah, Mark Richt was recruiting there.
Right, and they have now they got stability at the quarterback. The quarterback that is very good. I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but I think he's very, very good.
He's better than what they got.
Yeah, absolutely. He's better than what they got. And, we're looking at Miami could be top 15. Now, if they don't make a slip up, I don't think they have. I mean, looking at Miami's schedule for, before North Carolina, they play Temple, Wagner, UAB, Pitt, Wake Forest.
Yeah, they could be going into that game undefeated.
Right, and North Carolina, prior to the game, obviously they play UCF, Auburn, James Madison, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Virginia and Duke. So they could go in with one loss.
Yep.
So that could be a battle of two top 15 teams. If they get if North Carolina can get past Auburn and walk into that game undefeated, they could be top 10.
Top 10 team.
Yeah, they could be a top 10 team. And then whoever's wins that obviously is in the driver's seat to, who's going to get their ass kicked by Clemson.
Because is that an inter-division game, or are they both in the South?
No, they're both in the Coastal, and Clemson's in the Atlantic.
Okay.
But neither one of those teams play Clemson in the regular season.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So they can, whoever wins that. I mean, it's in Miami. I think that one's gonna be a
good game.
I think, yeah, it could be very good.
Again, way better than.
Well, I mean, North Carolina, to talk about, they were 7-6 last year, brought back everything pretty much. Yeah. So that's interesting. Miami got a quarterback, brought back a lot of players. They were. I mean, people thought they were down, and they were because they're not the Miami of old. But they're 6-7, and now they got a good quarterback coming in. So
yeah, they weren't as bad as a lot of people made them out to be.
Right. So Miami going 9-3 is not out of the question. I mean, to get switch 3 of those losses to wins with a good quarterback, that's not unheard of by any means. That's
definitely doable.
Right. So I
like Manny Diaz, the head coach at Miami.
Right. I mean, and
for all intents and purposes, all the interviews I've seen, he seems like a legit dude.
Well, yeah, and looking at Miami last year, so this is very interesting. And actually, now this becomes even more interesting. Miami went 6-7. Mm-hmm. Sounds like shit. You got it?
Sure.
I'm going to go over their 7 losses for you real quick.
Okay.
Week 1 against Florida, lost 24-20, lost by 4 points.
Yeah, that was and we kind of slept on Florida a little bit.
Right.
I think after that one, but.
So week 2, lost to North Carolina by 3.
And they went 6-7, right?
7-6.
7-6. Okay.
Lost to Virginia Tech by 7. Lost to Georgia Tech by 7. Lost to Florida National by 6. Lost to Duke by 7. Lost to Virginia Tech the last game of the season, 14-0. But their 6 losses in the regular season was by 7 points or less. Every single one of them. So now they got a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They could make. I don't think they're going to make a run at the college football playoff. And if they go play Clemson, they're going to get the shit beat out of them. But for them to win 9-10 games, I don't think that's out of the question. I think that's something they 100% can do.
Yeah, especially going into that UNC game.
Because
if they go into that UNC game, what week is that?
8 or 9.
Yeah, so they could. Well, I don't think they'll have. Let's see, there's a bye week in there, so they've got at least 7 wins going into it.
Yeah, they have
because they're not playing much of anybody to begin the season, right?
So it's week 7. It's week 7. They have 6 games before that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be a very interesting game. Like,
sure.
So yeah, that's my top 10 list of games that ain't on your list, but you know what? They
should be.
They should be. There's some good ones.
I agree. There's some great games.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fun games to watch, and a lot of interesting ones. And obviously, that's what we picked right now. We could do like a mid-season last 6 weeks because, I think UNC is going to be good, but who knows? They could suck. Arizona State could hit the dumpster, and it could be like a 1-10 Arizona State versus undefeated Utah. Well, that's not fun.
That's one of those episodes where you go, all right, were we right?
Yeah, I was like,
let's see.
We'll go back and I'll save this and say how. I'll save my notes and all right, we'll go back and look about how good we got. So kind of we're getting along in the show, getting kind of come to the end, but a couple things before we hit the quick notes. Big thing this week, NFL Combine. One of my favorite things in the world. I love college football. One of the things I love the most is watching the college football players go to the NFL and see where they get drafted and see how they fit. And I love that whole process. So
we've talked about the NFL, and our favorite thing about the NFL now is the players, the people.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
all about people.
Right, and since I don't really watch NFL at all anymore. Like I said before, I watch games for players. Like I'll watch Baker play. I'll watch Kyler play. I like watching Adrian Peterson play. I'll watch for players. I like Drew Brees, watching him play. He's fun to watch. Patrick Mahomes is fun to play. But I don't watch because I'm a fan of the Chiefs or the Browns, or I don't have a team. I like watching players.
When I met you, you were all gung-ho Ravens, and now it's like, they're good. I enjoyed watching them play. That's
right. So we got that going on, which is kind of fun. We'll have I'm sure we'll have some things to talk about on Sunday about biggest jumps or.
Yeah, my favorite thing are people that come out of nowhere who completely destroy the 40-yard dash.
But that's usually how it happens. Is the 40-yard dash is how you do it.
Yeah, usually that's the big ticket. That's the big ticket one.
Yeah.
And also the run rich run. I love that.
Oh, run rich run.
I love the run rich run, and I love it when they do it up against guys who have ran during that one.
Oh yeah, when they compare them to offensive linemen, it's hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's so great.
And Deion Sanders in the back. I was like, man, why you got to do that? He's got kids.
my favorite
I love it.
My favorite is they always take the fastest person, and they wait till it's a 40-yard dash. They wait till it gets to the 15-yard line, and then play the fastest guy, and he still loses in a 40-yard dash with a 15.
Goes by him like nothing. I love it. It's so fun.
So we got that going on. A week or two ago, we had the NBA All-Star game. Didn't like the new format. I will say that.
I thought it was interesting. It's getting praise all over the place.
It's different,
right? But the old format was just as boring. It's just a exhibition game. Nobody's really playing for anything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It
seemed a little bit more competitive this time around.
It is more competitive, and I'm fine with the format of how they did it, resetting the score at the quarters. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But I would like it to go back to East versus West.
Oh yeah, I don't like the fantasy draft.
Yeah, I don't like the draft.
West.
Go back East West. I that's just the way it should be. It's always been East West. So, but other than that, I thought the 3-point shooting contest, my boy Buddy Hield from Oklahoma. Woo woo.
Yep.
Yeah, got it.
He's still in Sacramento, right? I gotta go down and watch him play.
Yeah, he's really fun to watch. He pulled that off. Aaron Gordon got gypped again.
I was watching it. It was tight. Both of them. Aaron Gordon definitely should have won, but the other guy was right there.
Oh yeah, the other guy was good, but Aaron Gordon's just.
Yeah, well, Dwayne Wade was like, "What are you doing, Dwayne Wade? Come on,
get out."
Those were amazing. Give it 10.
He jumped over frickin'
Taco,
who's 7'6".
Dude, well, how hard is that? He jumped over a taco.
Right, seriously.
The dude's 7'6".
It might even been a cheesy gordita crunch.
Mexican pizza. Come on.
So
grande sauce steak burrito. Come on.
Oh, so good. 5-layer burrito from Taco Bell. Hey, give me a sponsorship. I'll eat one every day, guys.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen? They got rid of a bunch of stuff off there. They got rid of the grilled stuffed burrito.
I go the 5-layer burrito. It's so much better.
I do love the 5-layer burrito, but the grilled stuffed burrito, that was my jam. My boy and me, Adam Stickley, would get would have a few barley pops.
A few barley pops, eat a grilled steak burrito, right. And blow each other behind the dumpster. I get it. It happens. Yeah.
Well, no, it was by
to Ohio State highlights. We just do circle jerk to Ohio State highlights. Whatever, Jimmy.
Listen, swap it with Oklahoma highlights, and it's basically the same thing that you did in college.
No, I didn't like. You did that in college, you nasty fuck. Anyways, sorry, totally squirrel. That's what this episode's called. You nasty fuck.
You nasty. Well, I can't put that up there. But
you put you nasty
squirrels.
nasty squirrels. Before I get to the last fun one, but we have baseball season or preseason has kicked off or pitched. I can't say kicked off.
Spring training.
It started. Altuve got hit first time up to bat.
No, it was like his third at bat.
I thought it was got hit first time up.
No, it was his third at bat. He did get plunked though.
Good. I hope he gets plunked every game.
Man, like Carlos Correa came out and was like, he seemed like the only one that was like seemed legitimately upset about what happened and seemed apologetic, and then he just kept talking.
Yeah, he should just shut up.
He was because Cody Bellinger said something, and then Carlos Correa's like, I don't know if he can read or if he doesn't understand English, and that is just another way of him saying and I hate it. I hate how Houston and the players are like, well, the MLB did their investigation and put out the report, and that's that. And in the report, it said there's nothing in there about them cheating or it affecting games. It's like, of course it did. What did Giancarlo Stanton say?
Oh no,
about knowing what pitches was coming?
Oh, Giancarlo Stanton had the most amazing. What he said, he was like, if I talking about should the this is referring to should the Astros title have an asterisk or should it get stripped, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, if I knew what pitch was coming, I would hit 80 home runs in a season. And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He would.
No, he's not.
He would definitely. And he said, and that if it came out that knew I was cheating like this, in the home run record book, my name would no longer be in there, or I would have an asterisk next to it. So how is this any different? And he's completely right.
And he's right.
100% he is. Or if somebody hit 400 and comes out you're cheating, your name's getting taken out.
Yeah, Vladdy Jr. said that. He goes, if I knew what pitch was coming, I'd hit 500.
Right.
And again, he's right.
Yeah, he is. Right. And so I hope that they get plunked every damn game.
Yeah, and the only problem, and you've brought it up, was that there is no physical evidence of anybody other than a couple players using it.
Well, and they can't.
But come on.
Physically prove anything. There's a lot of hearsay, but there's no physical evidence. That's why Major League Baseball can't do anything. Right. And a lot of people are getting mad at the commish, but I mean, if he suspended Altuve, then Altuve can't turn around and sued the Major League Baseball. Altuve would win because Major League Baseball doesn't have any physical evidence to prove it, which sucks. But we all know it happens. But there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Circumstantial evidence of Altuve was wearing a shirt at the top of the ninth inning, or I don't know if that's misinformation or not, but there was something weird about him not having an undershirt going into that last at bat to send them into the World Series.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there's stuff like that.
And the infamous "Don't rip my shirt off."
Oh yeah.
And then he said, and then Altuve said, "My wife would get mad," and then Correa said some bull crap about. He had a collarbone tattoo.
Yeah, that wasn't finished.
Yeah,
shut up.
By the way, I believe that was confirmed. I believe Altuve does have a collarbone tattoo. So
that doesn't mean that's the reason he wanted not his shirt taken off.
Yeah, and then he left the field of play to go put a T-shirt on and then come back up. It's all fishy as all get.
But again, all that's fun. That's not evidence.
None of it is incriminating.
Right. Yeah, that's not.
I honestly think we won't get the full scope of this until like 10 or 15 years down the road.
I don't think we ever will.
I think somebody would say something eventually.
I don't know. I think that's just going to kind of die in the wind. I bet you there's a lot of players
listen, if you're a baseball fan and you love the sport of baseball, don't let this die. Continue to talk about this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how many people?
That's the only way it's going to be remembered.
How many people took steroids that we didn't know about? Probably a lot. Probably a lot because nobody's saying the damn thing. I mean, there's the obvious ones that are caught, but I guarantee you there's a bunch of dudes out there that, I don't know, we didn't know, which sucks, but, nobody said damn thing.
And we can argue the difference between, what advantage steroids and what advantage knowing the pitch, like what percentage of a help it would give
Steroids
you.
doesn't
Truth
even...
of the matter is,
Steroids doesn't even sniff it. Steroids doesn't even sniff it.
No, it makes you stronger and faster, but you still need that hand-eye coordination to be able to get that bat on that ball on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Like...
Or a curveball, or God knows what else. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you're bigger does not mean make you a good hitter.
Yeah. That is my mindset.
Right. Last thing, before we close it out for the night, kind of the big thing for the last week. Fury versus Wilder this past week.
Yeah, I was watching it, but I ended up having to leave for several of the rounds to go pick Annabelle up.
Right. For y'all that didn't watch, Fury just dominated the damn fight. Like, it wasn't even close. And
but Fury's legs were tired.
What do you mean Wilder's?
Oh yeah, Wilder's legs were tired.
Yeah, he said. Well, he did invoke his rematch clause, so the next fight will be 3. Which okay. Yeah, he blamed it on the 50-pound cost. Shut the hell up. You know what? Fury and the way he fought. So for y'all that don't watch, first off, don't get me wrong, Fury's a big dude in general, but
they're both huge.
Well, yeah, but Fury came in at 275.
Yeah.
And what he did is after he threw a couple combos, he literally just walked in and then just laid his body on Wilder. Mm-hmm. And just made Fury pretty much hold up 275 pounds. And after 6 rounds of that, I mean, because I think Fury was at Wilder was at 2. He was he's not even close.
Wilder's not a heavy, he's a heavyweight and he's big. He's 6'7", but
he's
216, 217.
Yeah, I was gonna say 215, but yeah, he's right there. And so that's 60 pound difference of man just and I don't know, I have a buddy named Blair. And Blair's not even close to 270. Blair's probably around 230, 235. I don't know if you've ever carried a absolutely drunk ass off their mind, dead weight human.
Yeah, it's like carrying a something filled with water.
Yeah, Blair was 230 pounds, and good God, I was struggle bussing. So I couldn't even imagine, and that was carrying him 10 feet to the car. I couldn't even imagine holding up 275 pounds for 6 rounds, all at the same time getting punched in the face.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too. Is you're getting tired and getting outboxed.
Yeah,
Fury is 6'9", 270 some pounds, but he fights like a lighter guy.
Yeah,
he's a jabber. He's in and out. He moves very well for a guy his size.
He does. He moves very well. So I thought Fury fought a great fight. I mean, it shocked me. I said before the fight, I think I told you I had Wilder in the 9th. I thought Wilder was going to knock out.
Wilder was going to win.
Yeah, I did too. He had. Wilder. I mean, I can't say had. He still does have just idiotic knockout power.
Yeah. His right hand is something to be feared.
Yeah, they were literally talking about it before that. The bag man, the guy who works at gloves, is yeah, he's punched my arm to knock my arm out of socket multiple times.
Yep.
But yeah, Fury fought a great fight, and kudos to that man. He got the belt. And
awesome dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's slowly becoming my
he's
favorite.
Hilarious.
Yeah, my favorite fighter. That's MMA and boxing. He's funny. he's a goober. He sings songs after matches. He's a great boxer. He's a great fighter.
His walkout song is "Crazy" by Patsy Cline.
No, that was that's just this time. He changes it up every time.
Oh, okay. Okay. I enjoy that. Him standing there after getting carried in and him feeling the song and mouthing the words "crazy" along with the song. It's that's amazing.
Well,
how could you not like that?
My favorite part is it was in the 5th round. And Wilder was bleeding from his mouth, bleeding from his ear, blah blah. Yeah. And in the pre-match stuff,
oh yeah,
Fury said how he wanted to taste blood.
Yeah.
And literally they tied up, and you see Fury just lick his neck where his blood was.
Yeah.
I was like, that dude, that's gross, but that's awesome.
That dude's an insane man. He's a wild man, and I love it.
That's a good fight. Fury, like I'll be interested in Fury Wilder 3, but not nearly as interested in as I was this one. I thought this one, after the way the first one ended, this was a huge one, and I'll probably watch 3 just because it'll still be a great fight, and Wilder's gonna come back with a vengeance. I guarantee you, when he comes out for that next fight, he ain't gonna be wearing no costume like that. He's gonna wear his mask because he likes the mask. But
the mask is pretty cool.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, he'll probably only be wearing a mask in his robe, and that's it. And he's gonna come in pissed off, and that, with that amount of power, is dangerous.
Yeah, and if it's going to be very dangerous, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting to see, because Fury's the smarter boxer. You know, he's actually a boxer. He uses his, he actually uses the sweet science, whereas Wilder is more of a brawler.
Yeah.
And he's gonna wear you down to the point till, wait for that eraser, that his right hand.
The great eraser that thing couldn't.
Yeah.
Wilder's right is up there with Connor's left.
Wilder's right, Connor's left, Joe Frazier's hook.
Yeah, it's
Crow Cop's right leg.
Mike Tyson in general.
Mike Tyson and his uppercut, his inside uppercuts were insane.
I just say Mike Tyson in general.
Yeah, we talked about that. Our idea of who would win with prime Mike Tyson and prime Wilder. I think Mike Tyson would destroy Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, Wilder obviously has the reach, and he's a lot bigger.
But
the
Mike
powers
Tyson fought a lot of people with bigger reaches.
Right, Tyson had fantastic head movement, fantastic footwork,
and his movement is oh my god, it's so good.
He could get in close so well, and when you got into the eye of the storm with him, it was over. Yeah,
and he and the boxers he had the biggest issue with were the bigger guys who had skills.
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield. Well, Evander Holyfield's not that much bigger. I think he's like 6'2", but like Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was a pure boxer.
Right.
And and it wasn't prime Mike Tyson, but still.
Well, Lewis was also more of not that he didn't have the knife, but he was more kind of a Mayweather. He was a fight to the end. He wouldn't try to get in and throw haymakers at Mike, and because Mike would dip it and come in. He just got to get his points. I'm gonna get my points. I'm gonna get my win.
Get his distance. Here's my jab. You're not gonna get around my jab because my jab is so good, and it's 8 feet long.
Yeah, and it's 9,000 feet long. So
yeah.
All right. Well, so I think that's everything we had on the schedule tonight.
We were gonna talk XFL just a little.
Oh yes, forgot about that. And it's just more kind of like, I'm kind of curious. Like, that first week we talked about it, and it was kind of exciting. And everybody's like, okay, now the honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah.
And,
its numbers, its ratings have dipped significantly since week 1. Each week it's getting lower and lower for TV watching.
Right.
But I did see their attendance has been steadily going up.
Really? Interesting.
Yes.
I have had a lot of friends that posted on Facebook that they've gone to games. Like my cousin lives up in Seattle, and they're huge Seahawks fans, obviously, but they're just football fans in general. And it was actually funny, they're from Norman, Oklahoma. My cousin Ray, born and raised here. OU fans, just like me. He's a Clemens, and he's an OU fan. You could take that how you want. And he went, and they were actually playing the Dallas team that had Landry Jones and Bob Stoops.
Bob Stoops, yeah.
And so he was sitting there. He's like, "Man, I never thought in my wildest days I'd be rooting against Bob Stoops and Landry, but." You guys are going down. And it's like, oh, that's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's fun. I like it. We talked about the rule changes. I still think they're really good.
Yeah, I did finally watch kind of like a animation of what the kickoff is. And I think that's interesting. I think it does make it harder to do kind of the like trick plays.
Well, they had the first ever kickoff return for a touchdown this last week.
Okay.
And it was a trick play on a kickoff. It was the receiver caught the ball from the kick, and then immediately one of the other members on his team starts running backwards and he's running up to the left, and this guy's running back and to the right, and then he just pitches it to him real quick, and then he goes end around all the way for a touchdown.
Interesting.
It was good.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think in terms of success, NFL level success, definitely not. But
no, it'll never get there.
A smaller organization who's off season for football fans who want to watch, it's there. I think it could be successful at its level. I don't think it's going to be. It's definitely not going to be NFL level successful.
Right.
Like I said, I think if they go 10 years, I could think they consider that a success.
No, I think they can
Honestly.
too. Hey, before we close it out, I gotta, because you guys always make fun of me for my Kobe-ness.
Yeah.
So for
I
y'all,
don't make fun of you for. Well, I mean, I do, but
first
I
off,
understand.
I mean, he
I
is.
get it.
First off, he is a god. This is my reasoning. Okay, first off, what do you yell anytime you throw something, like you shoot anything into a trash?
Yeah, it's Kobe.
Kobe. And then the thing, and I heard it on the local sports talk radio. So if an alien came to Earth, to you, and was like, "Hey, I heard about this thing called basketball. I want you to tell me the history of basketball, all like from the start till now. Could you tell that story without saying the name Kobe Bryant?"
No, of course not.
No, you couldn't. Like you could not tell the story of basketball without the name Kobe Bryant coming up. So for y'all that don't know, yesterday was the memorial for Kobe and Gigi, and just a couple fun things that were said. If you haven't watched it, they're pretty fun. You should go look it up. The first one was Michael Jordan went up there, and he was sentimental and he was crying, and he ended his kind of thing was he's like, I guess, and he's like, I told my wife I wasn't going to do this, and in the end Kobe got me because now I got to fucking look at 5 more years of crying Jordan memes. And I was like,
I saw that. That's great.
That's great. And the other one was Shaq. And Shaq saying the time that the first time Kobe first got his respect, and I guess it was when the Lakers and Kobe was young, and the players were bitching about Kobe kind of not passing the ball, and Shaq was like, "Yeah, I literally went up to Kobe and was like, talking to him, like, hey man, there is no I in team," and Kobe just quickly, just like that, goes, "Nah, but there is an ME in that motherfucker."
That is dope.
And Shaq was like, at that moment, I knew I liked that dude.
Yeah, I like him.
So, and with that, so everybody, thank you for attending. Next week, we're going to have a really good one. We'll do this one probably Sunday, I think. Right, Jim?
Yeah. My plan is Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to get it in on Sunday, but yeah, we're going to have a lot of the combine to talk about, which is going to be a lot of fun. Talking about the numbers and all that coming in, and I'm sure we'll have a couple more things with college football. I think the combine's going to be our big one. We could probably pull up some mock drafts, some after combine mock drafts.
Yeah,
talk about
it's
some
going to
players.
Be interesting. I believe. Yeah, that's usually when Mel Kiper drops his final mock draft, his full mock draft as after the combine, going into the April for the draft.
Yeah, so we can talk about some of that. So if you're interested in kind of our thoughts on that, I think that's a good topic for us next week because combine's fun. Combine's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
So
it's so quiet in there.
I know, it's eerie.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, Jim, you want to sign us off? And
yeah. Hey, check us out. We're on Twitter at @boom_buck. Check us out on the Boom and Buck podcast on YouTube. You can catch us on Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast, and Anchor. Of course, Anchor is what we use to actually put this all together. It's our first sponsor. We have made a whopping 25 cents.
Hell yeah! Don't spend it all in one place.
Podcasters. So please check in. Give us a follow on Twitter. Give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, please. And we can keep this thing going. We're going to keep going anyway. Cause it's fun.
We're going to talk regardless. If you want to listen, awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right, people. Deuces.
Bye.